What's good, everybody? It's Smooth from Keep It Smooth. And before we start, tap the line. It won't cost you a dime. Like and subscribe, help your boy grow. But on this video, man, this one kind of struck me because I just lost my job and I'm going through this thing. But it seems like AI is taking over everything, and they're starting to be concerned that AI is going to take over at a way faster pace than they even think it's going to be. And this dude here, he's one of the leaders, one of the CEOs or something. He's talking about it, and he's talking about how he's afraid of it. And I want y'all to listen to what he's saying, and I also want y'all to listen to the type of dude this is, because these are the people that's running the world now. These are the people that's going to be in powerful positions here in the future, and they don't seem like the type of people that's worried about people that actually really care about people. They seem kind of off to me, but let me know what y'all think.
A well-known and respected tech CEO, Dario Amodei, who heads a cutting-edge AI company called Anthropic, is raising alarms tonight about AI's potential impact on employment that could soon be felt. While he says AI can lead to incredible advancements like medical breakthroughs and boost the economy, he believes it could also lead to half of entry-level white-collar jobs disappearing and 10 to 20% unemployment in the next 1 to 5 years. It's something that's been talked about within tech circles for a while, but rarely so starkly and so publicly. I spoke to him just before air about that and other implications he thinks AI may have on society. Dario, you've said that AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20.
First off, I want you to look at this guy. I'm not one to really judge people based off their looks, but this dude looks a little different to me. And they're saying half of the white collar jobs will be just insignificant by AI. Half. That's a lot. 50% of all white collar jobs. That's a big, big, big number. But let's see what this guy got to say.
%. How soon might that happen?
Well, well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show. But just to back up a little bit, I've been building AI for over a decade. And I think maybe the most salient feature of the technology and what is driving all of this is how fast the technology is getting better. A couple of years ago, you could say that AI models were maybe as good as a smart high school student. I would say that now they're as good as a smart college student and sort of reaching past that. I really worry, particularly at the entry level, that the AI models are very much at the center of what an entry level human worker would do. And so it's hard to estimate, exactly what the impact would be. And there's always this question of adaptation.
Is it just me, or does this dude sound like a computer? Like he's stumbling over his words. He like, come on, man. This is CEO of an AI company, man. He seems like, he sounds like a computer, like he glitching or something. A little off to me. A little off.
And these technology changes have happened before, but I think what is striking to me about this AI boom is that it's bigger and it's broader and it's moving faster than anything has before. And so compared to previous technology changes, I'm a little bit more worried about the labor impact simply because it's happening so fast that yes, people will adapt, but they may not adapt fast enough. And so there may be an adjustment period. I think the reason I'm raising the alarm is that I think others haven't as much. And, I think someone needs to say it, to be clear. And, I recognize it's always a difficult balance, right? I'm aware of my position that I'm building this technology while also expressing concerns about it. And, the reason I'm doing both of those things is, one, I think the benefits are massive. And, we need to find a way to achieve
benefits. It always comes down to benefits. Money, money, money. How much more money can we get while pushing all the people, real people, out of the way? We're not worried about real people making money and sustaining their life and having a good future for their families. We're worried about benefits. That's all they care about. Benefits, benefits, benefits. What's the bottom line?
Benefits and mitigate or prevent the harms. And, the second thing I would say is, look, there are, as you mentioned, 6 or 7 companies in the U.S. building this technology, right? If we stop doing it tomorrow, the rest would continue. If all of us somehow stopped doing it tomorrow, then China would just beat us. And I don't think China winning in this technology is, I don't think that helps anyone or makes us.
And that's the scare tactic. China. Oh, if we don't do it, China's going to do it. We got to do it because China's doing it. That's always a scare tactic. Whenever they start putting our enemies against us, like we only doing this because we got to beat them to it. They all doing it. It ain't no beating them to it. It ain't them getting it before we get it. It ain't us stopping this. The ball is rolling. They can't stop. But when they start throwing that China in there, our adversaries, you already know what that means. That just means it's propaganda.
Situation any better.
I do want to read something that Sam Altman, your former boss at OpenAI, said in September. He was saying that AI can cause significant, in his words, significant change in labor markets, good and bad. He went on to say that most jobs will change more slowly than most people think. And then he said this, and I want to just read it word for word. He said, many of the jobs we do today would have looked like trifling wastes of time to people a few hundred years ago. But nobody is looking back at the past wishing they were a lamplighter. If a lamplighter could see the world today, he would think the prosperity all around him was unimaginable. And if we could fast forward 100 years from today, the prosperity all around us would feel just as unimaginable. For younger people, I should say lamplighters was actually a job. People went around lighting lamps on the streets. I think a lot.
Let me tell you what he means by that. When he's saying lamplighters, right? He's saying that if that was a very insignificant job, anybody can do it. Anybody can just go light lamps, lamplighters. It's the reason he used lamplighters, because they look at people as if they're just lamplighters. They look at them as if they don't mean nothing. Like anybody could do that job. It's a simple job. We don't need it. That's how they looking at people. And that's be cautious when they say things and pay attention, because they don't say these things. They say it for a reason. They don't just say these things for nothing. And I think the significance of the lamplighter and the way he used that, why he used that, I think is some underlining to that. I think that's how he looks at people nowadays, as if they're insignificant, just by going off of what he said. That's just what I take from it.
People may not even know what a lamplighter is. But do you think Sam Altman is wrong?
Yeah, so, I think there are some things I agree with about that, and then there are some things that I think are too optimistic. So, I definitely agree that, AI, if we succeed at it, can grow the pie greatly, right? I wouldn't be surprised if economic growth is much higher than it is today as
benefits. Economic, that's all they care about.
As a macroscopic phenomenon, right? That AI allows society as a whole to be more productive. So
let me just say, because you've previously in the past said you've described a future where cancer is cured, the economy grows at 10% a year, the budget is balanced, and 20% of people don't have jobs.
That's exactly what I was getting to, right? Where I agree with all the positive potential. I think that isn't wrong. But I think the quote you just flashed is maybe too optimistic, maybe too sanguine about the ability for people to adapt. People have adapted to past technological changes, but I'll say again, everyone I've talked to has said this technological change looks different. It looks faster. It looks harder to adapt to. It's broader. The pace of progress keeps catching people off guard. And so I don't know exactly how fast the job concerns are going to come. I don't know how fast people are going to adapt. It's possible it'll all be okay. But I think
you see, when he try to talk positive, he starts to stutter way more. He don't believe what he's saying. He don't believe it's going to be okay. He wouldn't be on here saying that if he did. He absolutely knows it's not going to be okay. He just struggling to say it is. Like, because it's like God telling them, look, nah, you're lying. Make it to where they can tell you lying. Listen to him. Every time he tries to say something positive, he starts to stutter way more. I don't think that's just an impediment. I think he's stuttering, man. I'm telling you, he lying.
That's too sanguine an approach. I think we do need to be raising the alarm. I think we do need to be concerned about it. I think policymakers do need to worry about it. If they do worry and they do act, then maybe we can prevent it. But we're not going to prevent it just by saying everything's going to be okay.
Do we as a society even understand the potential inequalities that this may amplify? And also the impact just on what, like I have little kids, I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. What do they grow up aspiring to if machines can do pretty much everything better? What does it do to initiative or drive or striving? And I don't know the answer to that, but
Yes.
it concerns me.
Let's take those questions one by one. Those do concern me, but I do have thoughts on them. In terms of inequality, I'm worried about this. There's an inherent social contract in democracy where ultimately, the ordinary person has a certain amount of leverage because they're contributing to the economy. If that leverage goes away, then it's hard to make democracy. It's harder to make democracies work, and it's harder to prevent concentration of power. And so, we need to make sure that the ordinary person maintains economic leverage and has a way to make a living, or our society, our social contract won't work. And that's why I think it's important.
During testing, your company's latest chatbot, Claude 4, was capable of what was described as extreme blackmail. Specifically, I understand it threatened to reveal an engineer's extramarital affair when it was told it would be taken offline and replaced. This was a simulation. Were you surprised by that? And
I want y'all to hear that. The AI threatened to blackmail an engineer and tell his wife about his extramarital affairs if he took him offline. This is an AI doing this, y'all. An AI blackmailing somebody, saying they're going to snitch on them and tell their wife if you take me offline. Now, imagine that. If it's doing that right now, imagine what it's going to do in the future when they make it to where it's in control of way more. We need more restraints on this AI. They need to make sure it doesn't do this stuff. But it looks like they're building this stuff to do way more than what it should do. Like, they want it to be human. Why do you want to make it human? Because when you make it more human, this is the type of stuff that can happen. That makes no sense for it to blackmail. It should never, ever do nothing like that. It should be nothing to make that system do that. And it's already doing it. That's crazy to me.
what is that? I mean, that freaked me out when I read that. What does that mean?
Freaked me out too.
Yeah. So just to be clear and to put this in context, I mean, this was, as you said, a behavior that emerged during kind of extreme testing of the model. So if you were to make an analogy to, cars, this is like, you deliberately put the car on the iciest road possible, you mess with the brakes, and, you do that so you can see if you really stress test the thing, you can, then you can make the crash dummy blow up.
Right.
So this isn't something that the model does in practice and actual usage. But the reason we stress test the models this way is, that's the best way to test for and prevent problems in the real world. So
right,
icy roads do exist.
Yeah, no, but you know exactly. You want to turn every adversarial condition up to the max all at once.
Right.
And it's only by testing in that you get the model to not do that in the real world. So I wasn't surprised by these behaviors. But this is an example of how we have to be very careful in how we take control of AI systems.
I mean, does it? The obvious question is, does that pretend AI becoming self-aware, and could that lead to dire consequences?
I certainly don't exclude the concept. We have a couple people who are actually working on this topic. Well, as crazy as it sounds, of do AI systems have morally significant feelings? I would guess that they don't right now, but when you run an AI company, these crazy seeming questions are things that you study. So I would say this is probably not the case now, but again, the field is advancing so fast that I don't think you can exclude even crazy sounding things like this.
What are practical steps people should take to be prepared? I mean, ordinary citizens, me, lawmakers, what do you advise?
Yeah,
particularly lawmakers, I guess, really.
Yeah, well, let's take them one by one. I think for ordinary citizens, I think it's very important, learn to use AI, learn to understand where the technology is going. If you're not blindsided, you have a much better chance of adapting. There's some, better world, at least in the short term, at least for now, we should take it bit by bit where everyone learns to use AI better, and that speeds up the adaptation that is definitely going to happen eventually, but it'll be less painful if it happens quickly. For lawmakers, I would say really be aware of these issues. And, we're trying very hard to produce data on the economic impact, not taking off the table, some fairly radical notions. Like, I wouldn't exclude the notion of, levying a tax on AI companies, right? If AI creates huge total wealth, well, a lot of that will by default go to the AI companies and less to ordinary people. And so, definitely not in my economic interest to say that, but I think this is something we should consider.
Like I say, at the end of the day, it's always about the bottom line. That's all they care about. And now what? Get another tax to give them more money to do what with? They blow it. We already found that out. All they do is blow the money anyway. So let's let them make all the money and then tax. But that doesn't solve the problem of half of the white collar force getting wiped out. That doesn't solve that problem. But this video kind of disturbed me. I'm not gonna lie, man. Just listening to him, just seeing the type of people that are in control and what they doing, and then AI blackmailing the dude and stuff like that. Like, it's getting out of hand. And I'm a proponent of AI. I use it a lot, actually. So I can see where it can be good. I can see where it can be incorporated, but I cannot see why they making it to where it does the things that it's doing. And it's like they evil geniuses is what it looks like. But let me know what y'all think. Like and subscribe. And like I always say, keep it smooth.